Welcome back to another episode of the Decision Hour. I'm your host, Adam Bird. Folks, I'm excited about the guest that I got for you today. I met this gentleman not too long ago, actually, at an event down in Florida. He's a United States Marine Corps veteran, hell of a man. He's the chairman and the CEO of the Red Star Foundation. And if you're listening to this, it means you're already online. Just open up another browser, go to redstarfoundation.org. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jerry Shaffer. Jerry, how are you, my friend?
Sir.
It's good to see you.
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for having me on and making some time for us. I really do appreciate it.
Absolutely. Let's dive into this before we get into the foundation, just so the listeners have a better understanding of who I'm talking to. Who is Jerry?
Yeah, well, that's a good question too. I'm not sure sometimes myself,
A
but
man of many hats, I'll say that.
exactly. I get confused very easily here. Um, so I was born and raised up in the Buffalo, New York area, a little town called Medina,
Hmm.
which is actually about an hour in between Buffalo and Rochester. Small country town. Still love to go up there and visit. After I graduated high school, joined the Marine Corps, and this was back in '89, and spent a couple of years in the Marine Corps. Got out right after, actually, I got out right after the first Gulf War and went to college. Interestingly enough, I went to a university called Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Has nothing to do with the state of Indiana, Indiana University, IUPUI, none of that. Indiana, Pennsylvania is actually a city in
Yeah.
Pennsylvania outside of Pittsburgh, about an hour and a half. And what's funny about that is I actually went to college. I just wanted to play football. I didn't want an education. I didn't care about a degree. I just loved football, wanted to play. And so I went there and in '93, and first year I was there, we got to go to the national championship and, really enjoyed playing there. But somewhere along the way, a gentleman pulled me aside and started to mentor me. And I ended up getting a degree. And that degree was in health and physical education.
Hmm.
Soon after that, I got a teaching position in Reston, Virginia, and was an elementary school teacher down there. And during that time, well, actually, even before I became a teacher, I was actually planning my first company. So
Yeah.
while I was in college, I was working on this business plan and wanted to start something. And I knew what I wanted to do, but I wasn't sure how to go about doing it. I didn't take any business courses. I didn't have a business background. Like most of us, right?
Right.
We go to the school of hard knocks. And so I had that. And about 4.5 years into me teaching, I made a decision: either I have to try this business thing or I just have to throw it away and I'm going to be a teacher for the rest of my life and retire, which isn't a bad option. And I love teaching. So in 2001, I stepped out on my own and started my first company. And I started the very first online Marine Corps community at leatherneck.com, a domain that I
Oh,
still
yeah.
own. I don't do much with it, but I had bought up that domain in 1998. And after I launched it, shortly after, the Marine Corps Association, who owns Leatherneck Magazine, that had gotten their attention. So we were having some conversations with them, and great guys over there. And they were wondering how I got the domain, but that's how I got started in business. And then from there, I started a few more businesses. Matter of fact, I partnered with the 12th Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, Gene Overstreet, and we've done some business together. And we started a nonprofit in 2012 called Veteran Forces. And he and I have been great friends since about 2004 timeframe. And then all of a sudden last year is when Red Star came along and the idea and the concept. So, hopefully that gives you a little bit of background of who I
Absolutely.
am,
I,
what
I
I'm about.
I love it, and I got to shout out to Sergeant Major Overstreet. Had the opportunity to have met him on several occasions, and just one hell of a man there, right there.
Yeah, so,
So
salt of the earth. I mean, you
absolutely,
want to talk about a non-rate Marine
yeah,
getting to be part of a lot of high-speed, low-drag functions and people and meeting commandants and generals and uh, going on bases with him, just been an absolute amazing experience. And he's just salt of the earth.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been an
Oh yeah.
incredible mentor to me. And, he is just someone that is so special that every time he comes around, people fall in love with him instantly. And they constantly want to talk to him. They constantly want or him to come to their events. And so, I've just been very blessed for sure.
Jerry, let's dive into Red Star Foundation. I've heard of Gold Star, I've heard of Blue Star.
Yeah.
What's Red Star Foundation?
So Red Star was something that we just created a year ago. And what I'll do is I'll give you the
Yeah,
backstory on it.
please.
Back in July of 2024,
Okay.
I was at a veteran social and probably had 150, maybe 200 people there. We're having some conversations. I meet this woman who happened to be from New York as well. And her husband was from the same area I'm from, outside of Buffalo. And so we start talking. And as we're talking, she tells me that her husband was in the Army, spent 24 years, retired out of MacDill, down here in
Mm-hmm.
Tampa.
Nope.
5 years later, he took his own life. And he left behind a wife, obviously, and a set of twins. And as she's telling me about this, she said, I have a lot of questions that are unanswered. I don't know who to talk to. I don't know if I'm entitled as a spouse to any benefits. I don't know if my kids are entitled to any benefits, any scholarships, and I don't know who to talk to. And then she said something that changed my life completely forever. She said, I wish that there was a network like the Gold Star families have. And I thought to myself, well, there has to be a network. Veteran suicide is the biggest crisis that we've ever had in the veterans community. It's the biggest issue. It seems to be growing, not going away. There has to be a network that takes care of the families of veteran suicide. There has to be a nationwide network, just like the Gold Star families. And I told her, I said, hey, let me go home. I'll do some research. Let me get the information together. I'll send it over to you. And I did. I went home. I started doing some research. And I was absolutely blown away to learn that there's no national organization that solely focuses on veteran suicide and taking care of their families as well. Now, I did come across an organization called TAPS. Have you ever heard of them?
Definitely have heard of TAPS.
Okay, so Transition Assistance Program for
Yeah.
Survivors. Very good program. They do a lot of different things. They handle a lot of different tragedies.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, not transition, tragedy.
Tragedy.
Uh,
Right.
yeah, tragedy, not transition. That TAPS class is when you get out of the military.
Yeah.
So this TAPS is a nonprofit. They do a lot of great things, but they handle any tragedy. So if someone's in a car accident, if someone is killed accidentally on
Right.
base in a mishap, you name it. And they do some veteran suicide as well, but that's not their focus. And so I'm literally researching the internet, scouring it for everything that I can think of, and I start to come up with this data. Now, I know a lot about, or at least I thought I knew a lot about veteran suicide.
Yeah.
What I learned just blew my mind. For example, since the start of the Korean War, 1950, 75 years ago, there's been 102,000 KIAs in this country.
Right.
So killed in action, 102,000 brand new Gold Star families. That's in 75 years. When I look at veteran suicide rate, we started tracking that around 2001. And from 2001 till now, which is 24 years, it's between 150,000 and 300,000 veteran suicides. Absolutely just blew my mind, blew my mind. And by the way, the reason that I say between 150 and 300,000, first of all, if you take that 22 number that we all know,
Yeah.
22
Which is
suicides per day, that equates to about 150,000. However, back in March, America Warriors Partnership came out with their study
yeah.
that they did a deep dive study for 5 years,
Yep.
and their findings were that 44 veterans die every day by suicide, not 22.
Now, when
So that
they're saying veterans, for those that are listening, Jerry, do they? It's veterans of any era, or is it kind of front loaded on a certain era of veteran
It's
suicide?
any era.
Okay.
It's any era for the veterans. I
Okay.
mean, if you were a veteran, part of the problem here, there's actually a few different problems and why it's underreported.
Yeah.
First of all, when you look at the VA ironically came out with their number in November of 2024,
Hmm.
and their number was 17 and a half. And so when you look at the 22 number and now at the 44 number, it's like, why is there such a big discrepancy here? Well, a couple things. First of all, the VA itself, they only have about half of the veterans registered in their system. 9.6 veterans out of over 18 million veterans are enrolled in the VA system. So they only have about half of the overall population of veterans. The other problem is that when people die by suicide and they decide to take their life, whether they told somebody about it or not, they may go out and drive head on into a tractor trailer. They may drive off a cliff. They may overdose. And even though people know that that's suicide, what do you think that's listed on the death certificate?
Car accident or
Exactly,
whatever,
an overdose, car
OD or
accident.
what have you. Yeah. So it doesn't
Exactly.
classify. They're not classifying it, or I'm assuming you're still talking about the VA, but they're not classifying it as that particular what happened, even though we know
Well, the
that's what it
VA
was.
can't classify it anything other than what's on the death certificate.
Right.
So if they get that death certificate, which they don't get all of the death certificates, they're not questioning the death certificate. They would have no reason to question it.
Yeah.
You have some death by cops that are going on besides that. So, I mean, there's a lot of different things that number is underreported. The reason why that number is underreported, but again, America's Warrior Partnership, 44 a day. So you're looking at in the past 24 years at that number, 300,000 veterans, and that doesn't include the military, current military, which is about 500 a year as well.
Jerry, let me ask you a question. I mean, why do you think that is? Why are we having such a epidemic of suicides in the veteran community and the military community? And more importantly, why isn't anything being done about it?
Well, there's things being done about it for sure. And the VA is doing a lot of things. Are they doing enough? I don't know if there's a right answer for that. They're doing what they know to do. And that's part of where we come into play. And I'll explain that in a little bit. But to answer your question, there's several different reasons why people take their life.
Right.
A breakup,
Right.
a heartache. They feel devastated. They're not thinking straight at that moment. Some of it's actually a lot of them are substance related.
Yeah.
People may think about taking their life, but they won't do it until they have alcohol or drugs in their body.
But one of the estimates that I've read here, an estimated 256,000 veterans attempt suicide annually.
Yes, on top of the actual deaths. Crazy,
I'm just
ridiculous
guys.
stuff.
I'm letting let that sink in. 256 veterans. I'm sorry, 256,000 veterans attempt suicide annually.
Yeah. On top of the 8 to 16,000 that actually succeed.
And then with that, and here's the thing: with suicide, the poor veteran, poor military person, what have you. But it's the aftermath that people really don't understand. Suicide indirectly impacts an average of, it says here, 135 people over 2 million annually.
Yeah, exactly. And in addition to that, the any family that has suffered a suicide are at 3 times greater risk of dying by suicide themselves
Because of what they just went through or witnessed.
Yeah. Generational suicide. So again, this is why it's so important to reach out to these families, to try to impact these families, to try to bring them together to heal, so that we can stop that part of it. But also, the teacher in me says that we have to teach and train and help them learn. So if you have a family that suffered a suicide, you have the ability to pour into that person or that entire family.
Right.
And so that they don't take their life. And if they don't take their life, they can teach it and they can pour into their other family members. And that hopefully can become generational.
What are you guys doing over at Red Star Foundation now to kind of combat that?
Yeah, well, there's a few different things that we're doing. The first thing is we've created the Red Star banner.
Okay.
I don't know if you've had an opportunity to actually take a look at the banner. Matter of fact, I'll show you here's the Gold Star banner.
Yep.
And,
Mm-hmm.
and this is given out to the next of kin of someone that's been killed in action in a war or conflict.
Right.
And then in that same vein, we created the Red Star banner. And so
Wow.
this is the Red Star banner. And what we're looking to do is give these out to the next of kin of anyone that's died by a veteran suicide, current military suicide, and we're also including first responders in this.
And folks,
So,
we're gonna have pictures of this on everything in the show notes on this below as well. And don't forget, if you want to follow along with this, go to redstarfoundation.org. Jerry, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
I think you know. So that's the Red Star banner. And then also with the Gold Star, when they provide the family with the banner, they give them a Gold Star pin. I don't have a Gold Star lapel pin, but what we did is create our own Red Star lapel pin as well.
Yeah.
So
nice.
get that up to the camera. You can see that.
Yeah.
We give that out to the family and we give them a nice letter remembering their service member. And so the intent here is to decrease the stigma. First of all, when you have a family member that has suffered a suicide,
Yeah.
do you know what they're labeled as? Do you know what they're called? They're introduced as?
No.
Suicide loss survivor.
Jeez.
Now, one of the biggest problems is there's a stigma that goes along with suicide.
Yeah.
There's shame, there's guilt, there's embarrassment. People don't want to talk about it. And here you are giving them that label. All that does is increase the stigma. So we looked at it like, hey, if we give the banner, it reduces the stigma in a couple different ways. First of all, we're honoring the service of that member, that service member, that first responder. We're honoring their service, not their act. They still serve their country. They still serve their community. And that's worth noting. And we want to memorialize them, right?
Yeah.
So the other thing is if someone sees that banner hanging in their window, if one of the families are wearing the lapel pin, people are going to start to ask questions. You know, what's that about? What's that for? Well, you know what? I'm a Red Star family member, not a suicide loss survivor. I'm a Red Star mom. I'm a Red Star spouse. I'm a Red Star son or daughter, which will take the edge off of that label to begin with, and hopefully will open up some dialogues and some conversations. Correlating with that, we're actually looking to start chapters around the U.S., just like the Gold Star families, where we have these chapters and these groups, these peer-to-peer support groups of families that all have something in common between military service, first responder service, and then the death of their loved one by suicide. Bring them together. They can start to open up. They can start to talk. We're meant to be a collaborative organization.
Right.
So we don't care who you are. If you're going to help veterans, if you're going to help the families of a suicide, if you're going to help people not take their life, then we want you to be a part of this in your local communities. And so we will bring you in. You can help these families heal as well. The third thing that we're doing is something called Red Star Voices. And this has been something that has been very impactful already. And the concept, by the way, if you go to our website, redstarfoundation.org, you will see a sample of one of the videos on the homepage. And the intent of these videos, we're looking to interview family members and eventually go from family members to veterans that have thought about suicide, and maybe even veterans that have attempted it. And have these interviews, sit down with them, have a conversation, and let them tell their story. And my train of thought when we first started this was, if people knew the devastation that a suicide causes, maybe they would think twice before actually taking their life. And my thought was, if we can get some family members on camera that are willing to share what they went through, what their thoughts were, the pain, the agony, the suffering that they've gone through, and what an effect it's had, that somebody watching this, whether it's right now, if they're watching it, whether it's a year from now, 5 years from now, they remember that video And in the back of their mind, they recall it and they say, you know what? I can't do that to my spouse.
Right.
I can't do that to my mom. I can't do that to my kids. And hopefully that prevents them from doing that. Interestingly, the very first presentation we ever did, we went on to MacDill Air Force Base. And this was back in January 2025. We go on there, we set it up to bring in junior airmen that we can have a conversation. Sergeant Major Overstreet was there, most of my board was there, and we're going to have a conversation discussion about suicide. And it went very well. We had 70 junior airmen between the ages of 18 and probably 21, 22. We had 70 of them there. We showed them the video at the end, and we said, listen, if you want to talk to someone, we're gonna hang out here afterwards. Come talk to us. We want to know. If you don't want to talk right now, we'll give you our phone number, our personal cell numbers. Even Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps is like, I will give you my personal cell number.
Yeah.
Do you know how many people would love to have his cell number?
Oh, yeah.
You know how many calls and texts he gets every single day?
Mm.
And here he is saying, listen, you're that important enough to me that I will make time for you. And so it was interesting, Adam. I mean, when they started coming up thanking us, young kids thanking us for being here, for talking to them, for the video, and they were sharing stories about people in their life that they knew, friends, and some had family members. And they were just very grateful. About an hour passes by. We're starting to break everything down. We're starting getting ready to leave, packing up. And this young girl comes over, couldn't have been more than 20. And she's got tears in her eyes. And she just says, thank you so much. This was so important for me, so impactful to me. I just can't thank you enough. I had a death in my family. It still hurts today. And she's sharing this with us. And then she stops. She looks down at the ground and she just pauses. Had to be 15, 20, maybe 30 seconds. And she looks back up and she says, I need to be honest with you. 2 months ago, I tried to take my life. Now, we're surprised by that. We weren't expecting it. So we start asking her how she's doing now and how her counseling is going. And she's telling us all about that. She's saying she's doing well. And the Air Force is actually, when she's cleared and she's doing okay, they're going to discharge her. And she's excited to go home and spend time with her family and her mom. And then all of a sudden she pauses again. She looks down at the ground. I mean, it seemed like forever. And she looks up and she says, I need to be more honest with you. I've been thinking about taking my life again. But because of that video, I'm not going to do it. I never once thought what my mom went through when I tried it. I never once thought what my mom would go through the rest of her life if I did succeed at it. And I'm not going to do it. We're sitting back like, wow, did this really just happen? Our first at bat, we had a walk-off grand slam home run to win the game. The very first time out. And we just knew we have something special here, something that no one else is doing. You were talking a little bit ago about why isn't anybody doing anything?
Yeah.
They are doing things, but a lot of what they're doing is the same things over and over and over again. And you know what the definition of insanity is, right?
Yeah. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Yeah, you got to look at it, Jerry. Like, we're talking about a very serious issue here, and a lot of veterans that listen to the show, a lot of active duty. We've got a lot of first responders too. It's I'm using the VA as an example, and a lot of the time it seems like the answer is, what medication are they going to put you on? Let's put you on an antidepressant. Let's do this. And if you really look at the fine print of some of those antidepressants, you get suicidal thoughts and stuff like that. It doesn't help. And really what it boils down to is talking to somebody. And a lot of the times, recently there was a gentleman in the area here that had taken his life and left behind a wife and 2 kids. And you're just like, and you never would have guessed, never would have thought that the guy had any issues or anything like that. You never know what somebody's going through. And then you think about, okay, what's the family going through?
Oh yeah.
Let alone what are those kids going through?
Yeah, I couldn't
And
even
they
imagine.
got nowhere to turn, no one to to help in those situations.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
blows my mind.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure that you have some community around them for most of these people, and you
Right.
have some sense of family that will help out, but that wears off. That over time, just like any death, people rush to that family member and they surround them. But over time, that wears off, and people have to go back home to where they're
Right.
from, and
Right.
you don't have that support system in place, and that's exactly what we're looking to address.
How are you, for those that are listening right now? Again, those of you that are listening, redstarfoundation.org, redstarfoundation.org. Um, if somebody's listening right now and wants to reach out, is the website the easiest way to get a hold of?
Yeah, they can certainly get a hold of us through the website. What I would say though is if you are having these suicidal thoughts, to dial 988. So 988 will get you through to a hotline that they'll be able to help you. Matter of fact, for veterans, you press one. They make sure that they have a veteran counselor there as well for you. But if you're thinking about it right now, because we don't have a support line for anything like that. And so that's not our plan. That's not what we're looking to do. There's other people already out there doing that, and we'll get those people to that support line.
Jerry, for those that are listening that want to expand, you said you're looking to start chapters, right?
Yes.
All over the
Yes.
country. And if somebody that's listening right now, I say, hey, that's a great idea. I'd love to start a chapter here in our area. Is there a certain criteria that they need to meet to start a chapter?
Yeah, we haven't gotten that far down the road to talk about the criteria.
Yeah.
So we're looking, we do know that we're looking to stand up our first one here in the Tampa area
Okay.
because that's where I'm located.
Yeah.
That's where our headquarters is, actually in Clearwater, Florida. And so that way we can monitor it, kind of get it up and running and see what works, what doesn't work. But what they can do is go to the website again and just shoot us a note saying that they're interested in starting a chapter. And then once we have all that criteria ready, then we can circle back with them and start to have those conversations.
I love it. Jerry, what events do you have coming up? What do you guys got some stuff coming up here in the next couple of months? What do you got?
Yeah. Well, a lot of exciting stuff happening, a lot of support from Congress, from the American Legion, Military Order Purple Heart, Military Order Purple Heart, America's Gold Star families, the American Legion here in Florida have already adopted the Red Star banner.
Wow.
Talking to several congressmen. Matter of fact, I have letters from three congressmen, Representative Bill Arrakis, Luna, and Bergman, who's a three-star Marine general, by the way, Paul Bergman out of Michigan,
Yeah.
have letters to adopt this banner. And so we're looking to push that through Congress as well. But in terms of events, it's funny because literally an hour ago, I got off a phone call with Paul Sr. and the people over at Orange County Choppers. And they are very interested in what they're doing. They think that this is very, very necessary, and they want to help us spread the word. So I don't know if you know this or not, but they're actually coming back with new shows. Orange County Choppers is going to restart
Nice.
and reboot on I believe the Discovery Channel.
Mm-hmm.
And so was talking with them, was talking with Jay Garstecki as well. Take a veteran fishing. He's got a show on Discovery Channel too. And they want to do shows around the Red Star Foundation and help us out and possibly even build out a bike that would be on one of the shows and,
Nice.
and part of maybe part of the gala that we have coming up that I'll talk in a second. But that was just a tremendous phone call. Great people that care about our veterans, care about our military, care about our first responders. And so very excited about that. And that was literally just an hour ago.
Right on.
And then the other thing is we're having our very first gala on February 28th in the Tampa area.
Okay.
And that gala is going to be absolutely amazing. A couple of weeks ago, I had the opportunity, matter of fact, Sergeant Major Overstreet was here as well, but I had the opportunity to jump on a Zoom call with Gary Sinise. And
yes.
we were asking him just to attend this gala. Nothing special from him, just wanted him to come in for the gala. He asked us, he wanted to learn more about Red Star and what we were doing, and he was blown away by what we're doing. And he said, listen, he goes, I am absolutely going to be there, and I'm actually going to bring my band with me. It's not going to cost you a dime, but I'm bringing the entire Lieutenant Dan band.
Nice.
So this gala is really shaping up to be the gala of all galas here in the Tampa area, and you'll certainly have an invite to that as well. But it's going to be amazing to begin with. But can you imagine, bringing out an Orange County custom built chopper just for the Red Star Foundation and unveiling it there?
Be amazing. It'd be absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm a vision guy,
great.
so I could see like taking the Red Star logo and incorporate, like the do they incorporate it in the bike. Like it's pretty exciting to think about the possibilities of what that bike's going to look like when they roll it out.
Yeah. You take that logo, you take that service banner, you take that pin or the pin.
Yeah.
And one other thing that I forgot is we've actually created a Veterans Awareness Suicide ribbon as well. And so I'm sure that they would want to get that onto the bike. Matter of fact, this is what the ribbon looks like itself.
Oh, yeah.
So it's very symbolic. You'll notice that the red background there, red is the universal warning sign and stop sign.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to warn people about veteran suicide. We're trying to stop veteran suicide. And then you'll notice the black stripe down the middle. So that black stripe is in honor and memory of the ones that we've lost to suicide. And so it'd be nice if they got that in there. It's up to them what they want to do with it, obviously, but I think that would be a fitting touch.
Yeah, I love it. I got mine right here.
Oh, yeah.
On my desk. Yep. I absolutely love it. Jerry, I got one more question for you, my friend. I asked this question to all my guests. You're on a show called The Decision Hour, and we have to make decisions. We got to make decisions every day. And you've shared quite a few decisions today with us already. Well, my question to you, sir, is name a time in your life where your feet are on the line and you have to make that decision. What is it? And what's the atmosphere like at that time?
Oh, man. Well, first of all, I think that anyone that joins the military, when you make that decision to sign that contract, you're in that position like, hey, am I really going to do this? Mm. And so obviously for me, joining the Marine Corps, I think would have been one of those times. I think I mentioned earlier that I had stepped out of becoming a school teacher where I was being paid pretty good. I had full benefits. I had tenure. I was stepping out into a world, into a business that I knew nothing about. Yeah. And so that was a leap of faith there. But really, I think that this whole Red Star Foundation. So as I'm sitting there going through the internet, I'm Googling everything. I honestly, I know other people have said this, but literally I'm looking at this and blown away that no one has ever done this, that there's nothing like this already available. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, why not me? Somebody has to do it. Why not me? So I think that for that point right there, I think that was really probably the biggest decision I've ever made, that I'm going to go full speed into this, that I'm going to do everything that I can to save lives, to help these family members out, even at the cost of, I have for-profit companies that I run. And so I've had to take time away from them because this has almost been a full-time job over the past year. And so I made that decision. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with having less money than I'm used to. I'm okay with not growing my for-profit companies the way that I had expected. I'm okay with that because for me, the pay is helping other people and helping save these lives and these families and these children. And even when I went into teaching, I mean, I love children. I love helping them out. I miss that. I miss being able to educate them, to mentor them. But in this sense, I get to do that all over again. And so I think that was really one of the biggest decisions and points in my life when I decided to do this and stand it up.
And I thank you for doing it. Thank you for what you do and what's needed. It's purpose driven. No question about it, my friend. Thank you, Jerry, for your time today.
Yeah, thank you. And just like raising a kid, they say it takes a village. In order for us to do any damage to this, to make a dent in this problem, it's going to take an army.
Yeah.
And you're a part of that army, Adam. I mean, you putting this out on a podcast, you spreading this message, and it's going to take hundreds of thousands, if not millions of other people to make a dent in this. And so I appreciate what you're doing as well. You're getting a lot of stories out there, not just ours. And so it's a purpose for you too.
Absolutely. Jerry, we appreciate it, brother. Folks, make sure you go to redstarfoundation.org. Get involved. Get involved. redstarfoundation.org. Here's the nice thing. I made it simple for you. Look at the show notes below. Just click on the link. That's all you got to do. While you're at it, go check out our parent company, Heroes Media Group. We got some new shows over there, some new blogs that are up. Give us a like, share, follow. If you don't like what we're doing, say something. I don't care. HeroesMediaGroup.com. Check it out. That's all the time we got today, folks. Till next time, you've been listening to The Decision Hour.